Science fiction, a complex category. Part 1. It is almost impossible to capture everything in one definition. The best way to determine whether or not a book fits into the sci-fi category is to ask, is the story based in science? For instance, is the book set in the future? Does it speculate about future technologies? Is the story set in a different world, space, or involve space travel? Does the story contradict the laws of nature, that is, time travel, psychic powers, etc.? Books that fall into the apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic categories can be very similar. However, there is a difference. Apocalyptic fiction deals with the end of civilization, traditionally from a catastrophe such as a nuclear attack, pandemic, or natural disaster. We get to see what happens to people as they deal with the disasters. Post-apocalyptic fiction features stories that take place after such a disaster. It can be immediately after or many years later. Many times information about life pre-disaster isn't known and the survivors live in a primitive world. Cyberpunk is typically set on an Earth that is immersed in a cyber world. The exploration of the relationship between humans and computers is at the core of these stories. The cyberpunk world is a futuristic world that is incredibly high-tech, but it is also dark and bleak. Generally, steampunk takes place in Victorian England, or some place very similar, where steam power has revolutionized all aspects of life and lead to unprecedented developments in science and society. Biopunk is a spin-off of Cyberpunk and involves hackers, corporations, and oppressive government agencies that manipulate human DNA. Keeping with the dark atmosphere of Cyberpunk, Biopunk generally examines the dangers and darker side of genetic engineering and presents the underground side of biotechnology. The most common subject found in dystopian literature is resistance to government. The main character will often become disillusioned and join the rebellion in order to bring down the government. Other characteristics include propaganda, worshipped figurehead, forced conformity, surveillance, and fear. Watch Science Fiction, a complex category. Part 2 for the other types of science fiction.